changes the whole family structure, and the family is completely destroyed. There is biological differences in as far as the brain and everything between women and men. So having two men and having two women raise a kid, they will not get to understand something. They may not get to the place in society that someone raised by mom and dad would get to because of the actual differences in the way that they can actually raise their kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like a single parents though, like because it might be sure it's like more like an uncle or something like that. If their dad and the uncle raising one kid, it's kind of probably the same.
It's true, yeah. It's true that they're divorces, but it's still not the same as having two dads and two moms. I see it as
it brings a different.
And you're almost. I mean, unless they're faithful, it's really hard to actually find faithful homosexual couples. There are faithful homosexual couples, but it's rare. And so you really are opening the door to teaching kids that promiscuity is fine too. I think it really destroys the family structure. That's what I think.
And the thing is, it also warps the child's view of what is normal, because then growing up, how will they know what they are? How will they know if they're a girl or a guy or whatever, or who they should be attracted to? Like, it completely gets rid of all security for the child in who they are and their purpose and things like that. It opens up a lot of insecurity issues, I think, for children. So for their sake, I think it would be dangerous to allow gay marriage to be legal. But I still am not sure if it's right to actually make it illegal.
But excellent points. But there are adoption. I think is a separate issue because even though, because there's already adoption going on, like not necessarily like even without gay marriage in place.
How would you differentiate it though?
Well, I mean, because just because you can't get married doesn't mean that you can't adopt.
I don't think you can legally adopt unless you are married.
No, I think so.
You can't legally adopt, That's what I think.
Okay, so maybe it's only in states that have been.
No, I don't think so.
Because I know it goes on.
Because I don't think single parents can adopt.
I'm pretty sure.
I have friends who are adopted who only have
Miss Alice.
Well, they were single parents adopted. Okay.
Like
so it would have to be one of the parents that would adopt it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're single parents, they can adopt it.
I know some of it's
Single parents can adopt it.
So I was looking at some different arguments on the internet, and it was interesting. A lot of them, I still don't know what to think, but I was kind of looking at them a little bit skeptically because some of them were like, for example, allowing gay marriage could be a slippery slope to other things like polygamy and whatever. I'm like, well, that sounds, maybe true, but that's kind of fallacious. Because just because you allow one thing doesn't necessarily mean that all of a sudden all these other things are going to become okay. But yeah, something that I was thinking of is that since we look at things through our Christian worldview, right? But not everybody else does that, and so I don't know. Do you guys know what I mean? Other people would look at it a different way, and then basically, if they don't believe the same thing that we do, they may come at it from a completely different angle, and in their mind, it's 100% okay. And so, since the legislative body of the country is not expressly Christian or whatever, does it make sense for that? Yeah, for basically Christian values to be enforced. Not that there's a problem with Christian values, because I think that Christian values are good, but
Yeah, and I think this could sort of be a different argument, but we do believe that our country, even though we don't have union of church or state, our country at least used to profess to be a Christian country.
Yeah.
And still, says in God we trust, and one nation under God, and things like that. And so, out of respect to the God that we claim to be under, you would think that our laws would at least reflect a little bit the law that He has given, which would completely get rid of the possibilities of gay marriage or gay relationships at all.
But then you have to also think of like the amount of people in this country who are either non-Christian or atheist. I mean, there's freedom of religion, freedom to believe, and freedom also to not believe. So, I mean.
Well, there's freedom to do whatever you want, but there's consequences to those things. So I have freedom to steal, but I can also go to jail.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that seems like the founding fathers were primarily deists. So I think the idea that we live in a Christian nation, I think that needs to be qualified what we define as a Christian nation, because the Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, they were deists. And so they believed in God, and they believed that He had created, so we can say all men are created equal. But they also believed that He left it alone to go whatever direction it needed to go. So I think one thing we should think about is whether. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to go back to the. I was going to go to the adoption thing, but I think it's good that you're differentiating between those two.
I mean, that is one of the main arguments that I saw people bringing out, and I think it's valid for sure. But one thing that I could kind of bring a different side to everything, but the one thing that I was like kind of stumped on was the one thing, people having to pay their taxes and in support of something that they don't agree with. So like, if gay marriage is legalized, then their tax money would go towards people living in a lifestyle that was not in agreement. You know what I mean? So like they would be indirectly supporting something they don't agree with. Yeah.
Okay, I want to just bring up two more quick points. One is that one of the reasons why people want gay marriage is because of the benefits, the tax break that you would get as a gay couple. If you're considered married, like you can file your taxes together as a joint, and those type of things. And so that's a strictly unchristian thing, because you're getting benefits that are secular benefits. They're not Christian benefits. So them wanting benefits for being recognized as being married is not necessarily a Christian idea. It has to do with secular benefits.
And so in that sense, it's not really like fundamentally breaking down the institution of marriage necessarily. They want tax breaks.
But on the other hand,
it becomes a societal norm, and then so in the eyes of other people.
On the other hand, I do wonder why our pioneers, and especially Ellen White, made a big deal about the temperance movement. Because temperance is another area where you could say, well, they don't believe in being abstinent from alcohol. Why are we imposing our beliefs upon them? And in that case, there's similar. So I guess I would want to explore that further.
That is interesting, and I mean there's a lot more that can go into it. Another thing that I saw was interesting in favor of it was that it resulted in better mental health for gay people. A 2010 analysis published in the American Journal of Public Health found that after their states had banned gay marriage, gay, lesbian, and bisexual people suffered a 37% increase in mood disorders, a 42% increase in alcohol use disorders, and a 248 increase in generalized anxiety disorders. So, I mean, I don't know, that's not good for people to be, I mean, you know, having anxiety and depression and alcohol use, so it multiplies other problems that may not exist in the absence of that. One thing that's interesting, I've seen, actually no, I'm not sure out of time, so maybe I won't go there. But yeah, so basically that is a short treatment of the topic. And you know, there's many other arguments, but I hope that maybe we were able to examine many things here.